All right, man. So we don't have a lot of time until the play-in and the playoffs and all that starts, but we do still have a little bit of time. And I've already done one video this year, basically going through every Western Conference team. I guess I'm doing it again because my mind is just completely wrapped up in trying to picture the West playoffs, and I'm having a hell of a time kind of getting to no conclusions at all, to be honest with you. I have no idea what order I'm going to talk about the teams. I'm just going to kind of be riffing here. So let's just kind of bounce around. Let's go to Phoenix. So they've won 7 in a row, and when KD's on the court, the on-off numbers are all fantastic, and the plays they have where it's CP, KD, or Book getting a screen from Ayton, and then two of the other guys are spacing out somewhere. I do have moments where I'm like, I don't know how you guard this. I mean, there was a stretch in, I think it was like their recent Thunder game where Shamet was the other guy, and Shamet, he's shooting like 38% from three or whatever on the season. And I really was just like, bro, it's a CP, DeAndre Ayton screen. We got Booker, Kevin Durant, and Landry Shamet. What do you do here? I mean, for the sake of just not giving up an open three, you'd think that switching would be the option, but then Ayton would have a size mismatch. I mean, depending on the matchup, like, for example, if it's the Clippers, there's a few options there. I mean, you could try the simple thing of Zubats just guarding the screen and being in a little bit of a drop, if you will. I mean, I know they've tried him switching onto Luka, which then Luka would go into like Superman mode in the playoffs, but that option could possibly be there, but then you'd have to have somebody who can handle Ayton in the post, as well as the ball handler, then trying to go at Zubats one-on-one. They're already down PG, so that's going to hurt him. Maybe we'll see if Paul George is going to be able to play in the playoffs. Like, what are the chances of Ty Lue just going to a smaller lineup, which we've seen him do in the past sometimes? And then we also saw DeAndre Ayton, when the Suns remembered to get him the ball, kind of kill a lot of those small lineups, unless I'm remembering that wrong. Also, Kawhi was hurt for that series, so I don't know. For what it's worth, I mean, I think Westbrook has definitely been better than the biggest cynics would have predicted so far. Like, I mean, he did have a game recently where he was just making his threes, and it was like, okay, that's huge. He's been making these, like, fadeaways in the paint. He's been having wings screen for him occasionally. I don't know. I mean, going back to the Suns, it's also like, how much should I care that they lead the league in mid-range attempts lately? I mean, they've basically been at the top of the league in mid-range attempts for the past couple seasons with CP and Book and the shot makings there and everything. Should I be concerned? Like, will the math ever be so much not in their favor that it starts to hurt their offense, or is it not going to matter because Kevin Durant and Devin Booker and CP just like don't miss 17-footers? Of course, there's always just the, will CP hold up for an entire playoff run, but of course now he doesn't have as much pressure on him to be the ball handler all the time and all that good stuff. Let's go to the Lakers. So, for whatever reason, I've been kind of fixated on D'Lo as I've been watching some Laker games, and my conclusion is whatever they need him to do, he's got the skill set to do it. So we've seen him spotting up around AD and LeBron. We've seen him running screens with AD. I also really like what it looks like when AD and D'Lo run an empty corner action, so like a handoff when D'Lo's starting from the corner, that sort of thing. I don't know what the numbers are on that type of play, but again, I just like the idea of it. I guess what I'm sort of wondering is what will be the balance of D'Lo, I don't want to say forcing the issue, but going for it a little bit more. Like, let's say a big is in drop for the sake of not giving AD a roll to the rim, and then D'Lo's like, let me get into my pull-up. Like, you want him to have that threat. Like, we can't just have LeBron and AD taking all the shots for this Laker team, right? So for what that means, defensively, the Lakers, so when AD and Vanderbilt are on the court together, they're the equivalent of, the last time I checked, it was like basically the best defense in the league. Of course, they can't play those two together 48 minutes, but you obviously the numbers ramp up in the playoffs. And, the thing with AD in the defense is, like, he can kind of play both styles of defense. Like, he can be in a drop, he's a good rim protector, but he can also play high up on screens, and he can get up there to, somebody who might be a threat for a pull-up or whatever. And, yeah, of course, that means that asks the rest of the guys to rotate more defensively, but Vanderbilt and LeBron definitely have the size to do that. I mean, I know with LeBron, it's a bit of, like, stamina management at his age, given everything he's got to do on offense, but he can certainly slide down to in front of the basket if AD just played high up on a screen, As I look at the Lakers in the standings, now we go to the Warriors. So the Warriors, at least on Google, are technically the 6th seed. I don't know if Google takes into account, like, tiebreakers and all that, but right now it's Clippers 5, Warriors 6, Lakers 7. Wiggins will be back for the playoffs, and hopefully he's doing okay with just all of his personal stuff. For the Warriors now, man, it's like the starting 5, which of course has had a plus a million amongst their weird road defense stuff, which might just boil down to they give up more threes on the road. But there's that. You've got DiVincenzo and Kuminga, who I think have just kept on progressing with fitting into the Warriors' read and react offense. And I've said it before, like, Kuminga just knowing when to cut just does so much because of what he can do around the rim, of course. Jordan Poole, he's going to be up and down with the tough shot making, but Like, Jordan Poole's definitely going to win at least like 2 playoff games just off of making a bunch of crazy jump shots. He might also lose you 2 playoff games from taking those very same shots. I'm thinking about a potential Kings Warriors round 1 matchup, and I do wonder like who guards De'Aaron Fox, or how do they as a team guard De'Aaron Fox. Funny enough, they're playing tonight, or they already played, depending on when you're watching this video, but maybe I'll learn something from that game coming up. But like, I just went and took a look at one of the recent games they played, which for some reason they played all 3 of their games against each other like in the first month of the season. But I'm seeing a possession where Looney, he was in a drop, another one where Looney switched, another one where Draymond was in a drop. Kuminga started possessions on him, Wiggins started possessions on him, and I guess that's kind of what I'm asking. Also, they have GP2 now, and he's playing, so there's a chance that he's your guy to go at guards, but of course he's not going to play like 40 minutes a game unless we're getting really wild with the rotations. And so I'm just thinking, like, can Wiggins just be your sort of fix all of our problems guy, where defensively it's like, okay, maybe the size totally doesn't line up, but you're getting the most possessions guarding De'Aaron Fox, at least to start possessions before we get into our switching and helping and all that stuff. But then the question there is going to speak to, Wiggins' conditioning and all that, and I mean, we'll see. The other question with the Warriors, when will Steph Curry just go into like simple pick and roll mode up top, if he will, because of course like they're going to do a lot of their flowing off-ball motion offense, which they should. It's very effective. But when will it be just those simple plays up top and Steph just being like, hey, Sabonis or whoever, can you get up here fast enough? Like, let's just see. Now for the Kings, the question that I've got is actually centered around Sabonis, because I'm assuming De'Aaron Fox is going to keep on making all of his free throw line jumpers that he just hasn't missed all year, basically. So Sabonis, look, he loves his handoff actions, and it's a foundation of their offense, no doubt about it. And I expect him to do that, and I do not want him to stop doing that. That being said, in the playoffs, we know this, against good defensive teams, sometimes you just got to cook a little bit more. And so will Sabonis just go into like bully mode versus, I mean, as of right now, the standings say the 6-3 matchup is Kings-Warriors. So if that means Sabonis is going to have some moments just going at Looney or Draymond, like what does that look like? To state the obvious, Draymond, among the best, potentially the best at guarding guys taller than him. I know there's questions about the Kings defense, but everybody knows that, so there you go. If we can go on to the Grizzlies, so Steven Adams is still out, and we're going to see. Brandon Clark's out for the season. Those are 2 big losses for him, no doubt. A lot of it on offense, in my opinion, because of the screen setting for both of them, and also Steven Adams is like a god-tier offensive rebounder. And, defensively, look, Jaren Jackson, as long as he's on the floor with Dylan Brooks and Xavier Tillman, or even if Jaren's there at center, I trust the Grizzlies defense. I really do. Now, with that said, we can't ignore Jaren's fouls, okay? I mean, I just did a quick look through. He's played 60-something games this season. I think 18 of them he fouled at least 5 times, and there were a whole bunch of games where he fouled 4 times. The other question with the Grizzlies is their half-court offense, right? And, Steven Adams, screen setting, they need him. He's not playing right now. Okay. Desmond Bane has been cooking lately. A lot of it being like straight line drives, flashing out to 3, and then from there, like if he's got the opening, he'll take it, or it could be like pump and then go. His passing is, good enough to where he can make like reads out of those situations. When Jaren has just been going to work to lack a more descriptive thing in the post recently, hook shots and all that, it's been really good. I said that in my players are making a jump video from like a week ago or whenever it was now. And then, of course, you just have everything with Ja Morant. Like, that's the formula for this half-court offense to not just get bogged down into Ja pick and roll after Ja pick and roll in clutch situations, which, of course, like there's going to be a lot of Ja pick and rolls, no doubt. But just a spice of more creativity when you need it, getting it out of Jaren, Bane. Hopefully Dylan Brooks just is not too frustrating with his shot selection. And as always, my guy Tyus Jones, he's going to make an impact, whether it's as the backup or playing with Ja to give him an extra ball handler, shooter, and all that. Teams will try to go at him because of his size. That's playoff basketball. Let's talk Nuggets for a bit. I don't know who the hell can guard these guys, okay? The question that I've got is just how much help are teams going to bring on Jokic's post-ups and all that stuff, right? Because if you swarm them, then you're just opening yourself up to threes for KCP and Murray and MPJ, and Bruce Brown's been better on threes. Gordon's been fine on them, but also the cuts from a bunch of those guys as well, and so we'll see there. But of course, if you're just going to put single coverage on Jokic, then it becomes, is he going to make enough of those like 12-footers? And the answer is typically yes on that thing. Look, defensively, of course, that's a conversation with the Nuggets. On the season, they now sit, I think, like 15th in defensive rating. Their starting lineup still is like way better defensively than their overall team rating. I've said it a million times at this point. Jokic at the level of the screen, to me, is by far their best defensive coverage as opposed to Jokic in a drop. But of course, that requires more stuff from everybody else. And like, there are times where like Jamal Murray becomes the guy who's got to help from the corner in order to stop who could be like a big man rolling to the rim or whatever. So there's definitely some ways you can go at it. I think about the Suns, and if Nuggets Suns is going to happen, it's going to happen in round 2. It's not going to be the conference finals. With the way the Suns can just make all their skip passes, because Booker, Durant, and CP can all make those passes. Like, yeah, the Nuggets could be giving up a lot of corner threes and that sort of thing. And of course, Ayton's got the roll potential. Like, there could be a lot of points scored in that series. I'll just leave it at that. I guess, similar to what I said with Sabonis, I guess with Jokic, like, will he ever just go into just score on every possession or try to score on every possession at least mode? Like, I don't know. He might just average a triple-double with 30 points for, like, at least 2 playoff matchups. As for the bottom of the thing right now, so we got the Pelicans, the T-Wolves, and the Thunder, who are all sitting in the play-in tournament. I mean, Brandon Ingram's cooking like crazy as the Pelicans got their thing back on track. This Pelicans team is so close to just being really awesome, man. But, Zion. The T-Wolves, so that Laker game they played recently, I remember the Lakers double-teaming pretty aggressively, like in the second half, and it really froze the Wolves' offense a lot of the time. They had that disaster loss to the Blazers where Cat took 3 shots, and Shaedon Sharpe was working around pick and rolls as if he was like a 27-year-old Chris Paul. Then the Wolves beat the Nets their last one, and I really like 2 of Cat's assists to Gobert. One was like Cat bringing the ball up court, and Gobert's got good position, throw it to him, nice. Another one where Cat was on like the elbow, and Gobert just kind of ducks in from the opposite dunker spot. The Wolves are just the epitome of like, you don't know what you're going to get any given night. You might get Anthony Edwards dropping 45. You might get Karl Anthony Towns. Granted, he's been out for most of the season, but he might get 9 threes. You might have like a 4-minute stretch where just Gobert's locking up everything around the paint and all that. Or Jaden McDaniels is just suffocating whatever ball handler is tasked with dealing with him on that night. Or they'll commit 21 turnovers against the Suns. Like, I don't know what to tell you. And as for OKC at number 10, you know what, man? I'm just going to be nice to the Thunder. They're playing with house money. Don't get me wrong. I think they would prefer to make round 1 and just have that moment for the team, the city, the franchise, all that nice stuff. But with how good SGA has been this season, you got J-Dub and Giddey and Isaiah Joe and Chet's coming back next season. We'll see with him. All the future picks, like they're sitting pretty. As for Dallas at number 11, well, Dallas is number 11. And there you go.